Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Hello, everyone. This is Joanne Reese. We're thrilled to have you joining us today on the Hemp Show. And I've received word that the ratings are great for this show, so I'm really excited that people are wanting to learn more about hemp. I think it's almost impossible to be walking into a supermarket, liquor stores, anywhere where you're seeing magazines, articles, even online on different news things. Cannabis is hot news. We're watching a revolution happen in this arena. And I just had a beautiful conversation with a great friend 5 minutes ago before we got started today. And it seems to be a really prevalent conversation where I let people know that I'm a huge advocate of hemp, that I'm excited for people to learn about this industry, about legalization, about how this amazing plant can help them, their families, how important it is for our biology, and how important it is that people know the most important factors when it comes to selecting a product, how you want to take it. I've been getting a lot of questions about vaping CBD recently, and I'm just I'm excited to get the word out. I want people to know about this, to not be afraid about it. If you've done any research online about cannabis, you've probably come across Sanjay Gupta, who was a huge spokesperson against cannabis, and he came out a few years ago and apologized. He apologized to the American public. He said, "We have been lied to." And it's a fascinating topic to go online and go on YouTube and type in the history of hemp. It's very, very interesting why this plant was so prevalent, what a huge part of our history it was in terms of being a cash crop here in the United States, and why they made it illegal. We've done a couple shows before on the history of hemp, and some of the industry leaders in lumber and plastics and textile and in pharma that were responsible for eliminating this, making it an illegal Schedule I drug. But the good news is this is now federally legal. So cannabis without THC, which is legally known as hemp, is federally legal. It's legal in all 50 states. And every individual state is kind of going through their own process for how they're going to handle it, regulate it, that type of thing. But an even bigger picture is that the whole world is kind of following suit. We're seeing massive legalization around this federal government deregulation and formulation of an entire industry. So what we've tended to focus here a lot on is how this is looked at as a dietary supplement, as a holistic treatment. And if you've never Googled it, please do. Go start Googling the benefits of CBD, of CBG, the benefits of hemp for any and all issues that you or your loved ones or people that you know of may have. And you'll be amazed. One of the things that has been such a blessing for me as I've been learning about this, so my background, again, for those of you who haven't heard from me before, is I'm a trauma therapist. I have worked in addiction recovery for 15-plus years doing addiction recovery coaching, and I've done a lot of work with plant medicines around trauma, anxiety, depression, and addiction work. So I was very surprised when I learned about CBD, about hemp. I was shocked to hear that there was a pure medicinal side of cannabis that had nothing to do with THC, which is the psychoactive part about this plant. I had steered clear of that for its obvious reasons when you're working with people with drug addiction. Marijuana is not typically a great idea, but I really got fired up when I learned about how much this helps people with addiction, with alcoholism, with trauma, with anxiety, depression, all of the things that sort of contribute to why people self-medicate, why they drink, why they smoke, why they're, potentially getting involved in sort of addictive behavioral things. And I never get tired of doing research on how this can help people with addiction, with trauma, to quiet and calm everything down. And, as I went on a quest to connect with more people, I've met the most amazing practitioners. And I really love and I've had several guests on the show who are practitioners that are coming from traditional medicine. So I'm really, really grateful to have my friend Brooke Schwartz on today. She is a mother of 3. She is a happily married mama. She is an RN for 25 years at University Medical Center in Chicago, and she has worked in the NICU with preemie babies. What a great job that is. It's kind of the magic elixir to be around those newborn babies. So thanks so much for being with us here today, Brooke.
My gosh, Joanne, what a great introduction. Thank you so much for inviting me to share today.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I know you're on fire about this topic, and yet I've never really heard your story, so I'm so excited to be able to dive in and just ask, how did you hear about this? How did you get involved? You probably weren't sitting around 4 years ago saying, I want to work with cannabis.
Not at all. And actually, to be quite honest, I was pretty ignorant when it came to talking about cannabis. It wasn't anything that I was familiar with, but I certainly am always open to doing what is really what's going to benefit people and benefit patients. And I think that the medical community has been very closed off to being able to have these conversations, and still there's a lot of misunderstandings of what cannabis does for our bodies and how it works, and the research, how much research has been done. And it's interesting, I've been taking my platform, I've joined a company to help, share this. It's called Pride My Body, but I've used this platform to really go out and educate our doctors, educate our nurses, educate our practitioners, and really help open that conversation and talk about why this is working so well. Let's talk about the science. Let's talk about the fear. Let's talk about the misunderstandings. I just was invited to speak at the Chicago chapter of Oncology Nurses Society, and I was over at Loyola University speaking, and it was a room full of people, and one of the coordinators there, he's got his doctorate in nursing, and basically the entire alphabet after his name, and he came to me and said, Brooke, I was ignorant. I had no idea. And I'm like, you're not alone. I can't tell you how many people that are in, Western medicine that just don't know and haven't taken the time to learn. And I feel like, and I'm very passionate about sharing this one nugget right here, is that, as healthcare providers, it's our responsibility to understand how this is working, why this is working. Our patients are going to be turning to this anyway, so what are we doing about it? And how are we advocating for them, and how are we supporting them?
I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. And I love that you're talking about, to the oncology. So when you did your presentation, after you just said what you just said, how are you starting out? Do you start out, how did your presentation go, and what did you share with them that you feel like was the most impactful for how they're going to understand why it's working and how they're going to advocate for their patients?
Well, I really start with the science. That's my stepping stone. That's where I build from. So we break it down and talk initially just about the endocannabinoid system, about the system that is responsible for all of the other systems in our body. this system, which is newer science, it was just discovered in the early 1990s by a scientist in Israel. His name is Dr. Raphael Meshulam, and he's really the grandfather of cannabis in the endocannabinoid system. He's the person who found it. And sharing about these receptors, the CB1 receptors, that in a generalized statement are located mainly in our brain and spinal cord, and then talking about the CB2 receptors, and again, a generalized statement mainly in our peripheral organs, our reproductive organs, in our immune system, and really talking about how these receptors are the most receptors of any receptors in our bodies, which that's a really big statement right there. And the job of the endocannabinoid system is to regulate all of the other systems. And if this endocannabinoid system isn't working, our bodies become unregulated. It starts to fall out of balance. It teeters into a place of where inflammation can happen and illness can happen. But if we have a really healthy endocannabinoid system, it really helps our bodies function best. What happens is that when we get this body in a place of homeostasis, and as a nurse, that's our goal with our patients, right? We want our patients to be able to get to a homeostatic place so they can rest, repair, and digest, so our bodies can heal. And working in the neonatal intensive care unit, I work with little patients, little babies, but you can see when they are stuck in fight or flight. You can see when they are agitated and restless and just are fighting. And so getting them into a place where they're contained and comfortable and able to repair and able to get that sleep and able to get that rest. A lot of times our patients have interrupted sleep because we have things that we need to do as healthcare providers, but we really want to, prevent the healthcare team from doing that. We want to create that place where our bodies can rest and repair and digest. This is our job. This is what we do. And so if we have a healthy endocannabinoid system, and like I said, this was all new information to me. I didn't learn about this in nursing school. I had no idea about the endocannabinoid system, even 3 years ago. This is all new to me. And what's exciting is that medical schools are now starting to teach this. Brown University being one of them. It's only taught in about 13 to 16% of our medical schools right now, but it's growing because the information is getting out there, because the science is out there, and people are opening their minds to what this is. But this endocannabinoid system is really that's the starting point of the conversation, that we are biologically made up, that this is how we're made up, and it's important to nourish this endocannabinoid system. And I have actually a little fun fact that some people may or may not know, which I was fascinated with this because I do work with mothers and their babies. But, the fact that we actually make cannabinoids in our bodies, we make them when our endocannabinoid system is working well. And a really fun fact is that actually our breast milk that we give to our babies is packed with our cannabinoids. So we are passing these cannabinoids to our babies, which helps boost their immune system, which helps them stay healthy, which helps them grow. It's really part of, it's all part of who we are.
Yeah. And what I often tell people about that is, if you ever watch a baby nurse, they get super happy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and relaxed, and just really relaxed. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And relaxed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it can even be pervasive throughout the room, I think, energetically. It's like everybody goes,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I've been amazed at just mood stability. How much less reactive I've personally felt, and less reactive and more able to respond intelligently. As a somatic therapist, I always say to people, our job is to notice what arises with our thinking, with our, if we can just notice what arises, like, oh, there's a part of me that feels afraid, or there's a part of me that feels nervous, or the part of me that feels, insecure or doubt or triggered or whatever. If we can just notice what arises, take a deep breath, be with it, be present with it, maybe notice it as a sensation in your body. and let it be there, it typically starts to dissipate to some degree. You know what I mean? Like whatever, like the thing, it rises up, and then it kind of passes through and it lets go. But when, and I think that's possible when we're in parasympathetic, right?
Absolutely.
But when people are in the fight or flight, like your brain doesn't work properly, and you can probably describe this better from a medical perspective, but when we're in fight or flight, which is a state of like chronic inflammation, there's this extreme reactivity. People don't have access to that pause, that moment to take a deep breath, or even remember that I'm not actually being chased by a mountain lion right now. I'm not actually under threat. My friend just didn't call me back, or my husband, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But we often have this catastrophic response when we're in the fight or flight, and I think that's, that's part of the deficiency you're talking about, yes?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting how this autonomic nervous system really responds, and how us as a society, working in stressful environments, having more stress in our lives, we get stuck in this fight or flight. And that fight or flight, it interrupts our thinking. We're tense all the time. We don't have good sleep. We don't have time to, have that time to recover. And I work in an intensive care unit, so, things can move very rapidly and quickly. And if you are responding in a place of fear, in a place of not thinking, mistakes can happen. And so, it becomes a public safety issue, right? Patient safety. So really being able to get to that place of, being able to bring yourself down and really think, get that blood flow to the brain, get that blood flow to where it needs to go so you can make critical decisions. It's a big deal. And not everybody works in a critical care, environment like I do, but I can tell you from experience, I was getting stuck in fight or flight. I had no idea. What was going on with my body. I'm in my late 40s now, but when I started taking hemp, I was in my mid-40s, starting to experience a lot of shifts in my hormones, starting to just not feel like myself, being more reactive, overreactive, I should say, and just not the best version of myself. And I wasn't sleeping well. I was anxious. I just wasn't me. I wasn't Brooke. I didn't even know who I was becoming. But I was very just feeling overwhelmed all the time. And so once I turned to this natural product and something that was, being a nurse, and I'm not looking for, something that's going to jeopardize my job or impair my thinking. I want to be present, and that's what I found with hemp and with CBD and with CBG. This has really helped to ground me and help me be more present and aware of my decision-making, not be so reactive or hyper-reactive, and to be able to make good judgment. And also, I'm not jeopardizing my work by the potential of, testing positive for marijuana, because it's not what I'm taking. There isn't any THC in the product that I take. So I'm not risking anything with my work, and also performing better than I was years ago when I was so stressed out and not sleeping well.
Amazing. And that definitely was my story too. I turned 49 and I started crying. And I had a few things that happened in my life, like we all do, right? I had my kid's dad decided to move 8 hours away and stop helping me financially, and I had a breakup, and I had a shift in my career, and I kind of crumbled, and I just wasn't able to kind of find my way back on an emotional level. And it took me about 6 months to realize I didn't know anything about perimenopause, but my mom actually said to me, like, this is hormones, and I know you don't do traditional stuff, but there's probably herbs and, holistic stuff that you can explore. And then 2 days later, my friend called me up, and she's like, what do you know about CBD? It's really helping me. And I was like, just floored and excited, and it took about 5 days, and like you said, I started feeling like myself again. I started feeling more resilient, more present, less overwhelmed, more in balance, you know. I knew something was off. I felt like that, and I said that to people. I'm like, something's off. I feel off. I feel out of balance, even, I said. But I didn't quite know what it was. And, it's been fascinating to me. One of the things I really love hearing about from people is how taking this has really impacted your relationships with your family, with your coworkers. Do you have any kind of comments on that or testimonials about how it's the way people relate?
Oh, for sure. I feel like I'm more present as a mother, as a wife, more I think when I was going through that period of that, you know, heading into this hormone imbalance, I don't know that my family really wanted to be around me either, because like I said, I wasn't the best version of myself. So I'm back to who I am. I'm back to the old Brooke. And with more experience and wisdom, for sure, but I certainly am more pleasant to be around than it was when I was so stressed out. I think when we are living in that fight or flight and that stress, we repel people we just give off that energy that people just don't want to be around that. It's not a good place. And, you know, when you were saying earlier, Joanne, that it took you 5 days to really notice something, it took me 3 days. And really what I recognized was just getting a really great sleep. That was my first measuring point, was the sleep quality and feeling just more rested. The thing that's interesting about cannabis is that everybody responds differently. And I think that's really, really important for people to understand. Is that,
Hold
you know,
that
it could...
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Relieve your painful joints and muscles. It's easy with Body Therapy. Made with high-quality cannabinoid isolate and wellness botanicals, Body Therapy is a wonderful high-quality industrial-strength, non-greasy solve. It helps support relief from deep tissue and muscle tension, minor sprains and injuries, and even helps you recover faster after a workout. You need it, so get it. Body Therapy can be bought at lovinglife.primemybody.com or call or text 310-678-9712.
Women face more challenges today, resulting in more stress, anxiety, and body imbalances. Women need a little more support, and that's where Recept may help. Organically grown and processed with nanosonicated technology, this THC-free hemp product is a great balancing tool. It may aid a woman's hormonal balance from PMS to conception, from pregnancy to menopause. So women, get your calm on. Order Recept today. Just text or call 310-678-9712.
Coach Kev believes everyone is a leader and has a kingdom to build. He wrote Kingdom Business, License to Lead, to give you his secrets to leadership and to learn how to use the 4 pillars and hemp oil to become a committed, passionate leader of your life. Get the book, Kingdom Business, License to Lead by Kevin J. Suber at Amazon.com. You'll be glad you did. So do it now. Kingdom Business at Amazon.com or call 424-645-7823. That's 424-645-7823.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
Created by nature and proven by science, Recept Hemp Extract is something you've probably never experienced before. This organic, non-THC product not only has CBD, but Recept has the latest and highest CBG content. CBG may aid sleep, pain, digestion, mood, so many things. Get your broad-spectrum Recept today. Call or text 310-678-9712 now, or visit lovinglife.primemybody.com.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net. Millions of listeners know the secret. Now you do too. Positive talk 24 hours a day, every day.
Hello, this is Joanne Reese. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Hemp Show. If you're just tuning in, hit the on-demand podcast to hear the first part of this interview. My guest today is Brooke Schwartz, who is an RN of 25 years. What a massive service. She has the supreme pleasure of working in the NICU with prenatal. And we have been talking about all things hemp and how supplementing with an amazing, very pure, very potent brand will help you with, and right now we're on the topic of sleep. So go ahead, continue, Brooke.
Thank you. Well, what I was saying earlier was just talking about how our bodies respond and how everybody's different. And some people may have expectations that they may start taking hemp and they're going to feel something immediately, or they'll feel something within that first week. And really, everybody's different when their bodies respond and when their receptors respond and light up. That's how I describe it, how they light up. And I always tell people to start at a micro-dosing place, a really low place, like a low amount that they take. And after a few days, they can start slowly increasing to see if they can find their therapeutic window. And you play with it. It's something you play with every day. It's something that you need to take every single day to help find that therapeutic window. And what might be good for me might not be good for you, right, Joanne?
Right.
So I think that's a really important, that people have these expectations that, oh, I took it once and I didn't notice a difference. It's going to take a while. When you have an endocannabinoid deficiency, just like vitamin D deficiency, it's going to take time to get your body up to the levels where it's going to be functioning again. So I say give it 90 days, and I know that sounds like a long time, but for some people it could take that long. Usually it doesn't. I mean, typically it doesn't. It took me 3 days. It took you 5 days. I know some people, they noticed something immediately, and other people, it took them a month. So it's just interesting, and I feel like people who decide to choose hemp as something that they want to start taking as a supplement to feel better, to decrease that inflammation, to both neurologic inflammation and systemic, and boost that immune system, to just have these expectations that it's going to take time. And really, you know, if you are working with somebody, to really have those conversations and be open. Okay, I'm taking this much, not noticing a whole lot. And there is a possibility that you may be taking too much and you actually need to decrease the amount that you've taken because you missed that therapeutic window. So it's kind of a tricky thing to start with, but have these expectations and work with somebody that's going to give you the best results.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I love what you're saying. I tell people the same. I always say start low and increase as needed. I think it's a great idea for people to keep a little journal. I often suggest to people write down some of the core issues that you're having. You know, people throw out these words like anxiety or depression or pain, and those are kind of relative. I always encourage people to, like, give me measurable things. Describe to me what you can and cannot do. Put numbers on it if you've got it, you know, because if you go from a 6 to a 4 in 3 days, that's something worth, you know, noticing. And you may or may not notice it if you're not kind of having a conversation with somebody or if they're not asking you about it. So, you know, this is why I really encourage people. If you're listening to this show and you have questions, you can reach out. You know, I'm going to give you my phone number right now, so grab a pencil. I'm happy to take texts or calls. I'm here to bring information and share information. People have a lot of questions about, what if I'm taking medication? What if I'm, you know, sensitive to this or that or the other? And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to practice medicine with you, but I will share with you whatever I can that's the most helpful. 310-678-9712, and I'll say it again later. But we're here. We're here to bring information. Brooke is speaking to doctors and nurses that work in probably a variety of things. I'm sure you're sharing this with friends, et cetera. It's beautiful to have the, you know, medical training, but also just to know that you've had extensive training and decades of service for a top hospital, and you still didn't know anything about the endocannabinoid system. So on some level, it kind of levels the playing field here. I've spoken to rooms of chiropractors that were studying network chiropractic, And when I told them they had an endocannabinoid system and I showed them the information, their jaws dropped. It's fun, right? Isn't it?
It is, yeah, for sure.
It's really fun. And everybody is different. And I'd love to have you talk a little bit about what is it about this brand that you like? What do you feel like the top factors are? And then we'll talk a little bit about sublingual versus topical and herbs in addition to CBD. We'll cover those topics as well.
Let's see, where to begin? I would say there's a few things that drew me to this particular formulation, to this company, Prime My Body, and it really stood out to me for a few reasons. Number one is that we have a medical advisory board. That was really important to me, that we have a chief medical officer that we're working with that's doing studies. That was really important to me because I love the science. I love the research that really stands out to me. The other things that have stood out to me is that we have a unique formulation. And what really makes it stand above the rest is that our unique formulation, it uses a technology without messing with the genetic makeup of hemp. But what it does is just vibrate these particles really tiny using something called sonicated nanotechnology. And because they do that, not that I'm attracted to the technology, I'm attracted to the efficiency and how well this works. And so because of this technology, the particles become really tiny, and then they're wrapped in a liposome layer, which mimics our cell walls. So our cell walls are phospholipid bilayers, these lipids, these little fat bubbles. And so when it does that, when it enters into our body, it gets inside of our cells. So we have really high absorption. There's a lot of products that are out there that are saying that they have CBD and whatever in it, and they don't. There's people putting a label on them, and there isn't anything in there. So I love that we have also our certificate of analysis, and I'd say this is another huge piece. If you take nothing else away from this conversation, this is a must, that the product you choose has a certificate of analysis where it measures how much CBD, THC, CBG, CBN, CBC, whatever the cannabinoids are, that they have that in there. It's been measured, and that it's been grown organically. It's been tested for heavy metals. It's tested for mold. It's tested for fungus. We're dealing with plants here. And so they really have a high risk of having these things in there, and that can cause more sickness, more agitation, more sleepless nights. So you really want a clean product. And also tested for pesticides and herbicides, because if those are in there, insecticides, it's going to cause more illness. And that's the whole point, is to feel better. So that certificate of analysis plus third-party testing, because if a company is testing their own product, there's a chance it might not be truthful. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. So having that third-party testing is really important to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting in your product.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't know this, but I love sharing this with people. It's like cannabis is considered to be a bioremediation plant. So it actually sucks toxins out of the soil. And it does the same thing in our bodies, which is awesome because we're super toxic. And this actually really promotes and facilitates cellular detox. But if you've got toxins in the soil from your plants, you've got problems. You've got toxins in your plants. Mm-hmm. And I even had a lawyer tell me that he said 80 to 90% of the hemp crop in California this year is going to get scrapped because they've got massive toxicity issues. Mm. So, again, there's got to be third-party testing verified, certificate of analysis. And we just, there's people that have had a lot of issues around toxicity here. So, again, our goal is to bring the most important facts here and make sure that people are getting recommendations and know the right questions to ask. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Nitric oxide plus hemp-infused skin rejuvenation serum flush impurities and deliver antioxidant-rich CBD and vitamin C and E directly into the dermis. Nox is the world's only hemp-infused nitric oxide skin rejuvenation system that uses progressive technology to help your skin naturally purify and revive itself. It softens your complexion and enhances skin tone. Get Nox today at lovinglife.primemybody.com or call or text 310-678-9712.
Women face more challenges today, resulting in more stress, anxiety, and body imbalances. Women need a little more support, and that's where Recept may help. Organically grown and processed with nanosonicated technology, this THC-free hemp product is a great balancing tool. It may aid a woman's hormonal balance from PMS to conception, from pregnancy to menopause. So women, get your calm on. Order Recept today. Just text or call 310-678-9712.
Created by nature and proven by science, Recept Hemp Extract is something you've probably never experienced before. This organic, non-THC product not only has CBD, but Recept has the latest and highest CBG content. CBG may aid sleep, pain, digestion, mood, so many things. Get your broad-spectrum Recept today. Call or text 310-678-9712 now, or visit lovinglife.primemybody.com.
Constant Contact and your small business make a perfect fit for marketing. They give you what you need to succeed. Fast and easy email marketing at your fingertips. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Constant Contact to start your marketing.
Eclectic talk with a positive twist. HealthyLife.net.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Joanne Reese and Brooke Schwartz, who is a nurse, who's excitedly educating her friends and family and medical community about the benefits of hemp and CBD. And you mentioned CBG, and this is something that not a lot of people know about. I had the good pleasure to be at a cannabis event a year ago at UCLA. They had an event called CanMed, and it was a cannabis conference for doctors and medical professionals. Raphael Meshulam, who you mentioned, father of cannabis, who's been pioneering cannabis research in Israel for the past 50 years, was actually at CanMed this year, and I got to meet him and listen to a plethora of cannabis doctors and researchers from around the world talking about the benefits of hemp and cannabis for a variety of issues. They had specific panels on cancer. They talked about Alzheimer's. They talked about women's reproductive health. They talked about depression and anxiety. They spoke about seizures, of course, which is probably one of the most well-known things. They had a whole panel on autism and the benefits for all these different issues. And what was interesting to me was last year when I attended this event, the two main things that really stuck out for me was CBG. Everybody talked about CBG, cannabidiol, and they also spoke about the entourage effect. So the importance of having high amounts of cannabinoids, multiple cannabinoids, and terpenes. And then I was at an event just a few months later when this product Recept was introduced, and guess what? Recept has CBG and loads of terpenes. And I'd love to have you comment on what your understanding is about what's the benefits of these, why is it important to have them in your CBD product. Love to hear your comments on that.
That's a great question. In fact, I just read an article that was released by projectcbd.org. That's a great resource to go find more information about the effects of cannabis and to talk about CBD and why people are turning to this and how it's helping for so many people in so many significant ways. And also, it's not just for people who have health issues. This is about wellness and staying healthy. So this is something that really people of all ages can benefit from. And even just for, just people to feel better, like you were talking about with mood issues, and people that, athletes who may have some muscle issues or joint issues. But when talking about CBD, and talking about a hemp product, what they're finding from the research is when you just pluck out CBD as an isolate, CBD by itself, it just doesn't seem to help people quite as much. They're not getting the same relief as they are from something that is broad spectrum or full spectrum. And what that means is that they're using the whole plant. They have the other cannabinoids in there to help the plant. That's how the plant was made, and all of these chemicals work together. These compounds work together, including the terpenes, and the terpenes play a huge part. And that's what gives the plant its taste or smell. It has all these other things that our bodies respond differently to. There's different names like linalool, limonene, myrcene. There's all these different terpenes, and each of them have their own things that they offer, like helping with decreasing anxiety, helping decrease inflammation, helping improve sleep. All of these different terpenes also help with our bodies to be able to function and get to that homeostasis place. So when you have all of these things working together like an orchestra, it helps create what's called the entourage effect that you were talking about. That's when we start to feel the benefits, the entourage effect, helping our bodies feel the benefits and to feel better. So it's really it's just how it is. When you take one isolate CBD by itself, it just doesn't work as well as when you're using the whole plant.
Right. And I would say
and
that's
the CBG.
kind of
I'm sorry, the CBG.
Yeah, CBG.
Joanne, I'm sorry. So CBG is actually getting a lot of attention, and I just listened to actually a medical marijuana company here in the Chicagoland area just starting to, promote that they're getting CBG, which is interesting because Primary Body is, with Reset, they have had it for about a year, a little over a year, and they have a lot of it. And what's interesting about CBG, and there's more and more research coming out. There's other companies that, like a pharmaceutical company that's doing research right now on CBG. And what they're noticing is that it acts much like CBD. It is found in the plant when it's very immature, when the plant's about 2 feet tall. That's when they harvest that crop and they extract the CBG. It's very rare. It's hard to find. You don't have a lot of it. And what it's doing is not only is it neuroprotective, not only does it help with bone protection, and it doesn't only help with boosting our immunity, it's also neuroregenerative. And I find that to be absolutely fascinating because back when I was in nursing school, what we thought at the time was when, brain cells are damaged, that's it. Like, they're damaged. They don't replenish themselves like our skin cells do, And so to hear that now we're actually finding with neuroscience and doing these studies with neuroplasticity, we also have this ability to regenerate our neurons. And so that is a really, really big statement right there. So CBG, what they're finding is that this is some of the things that it offers. And it's also a great antimicrobial. So we have some superbugs out there, and the hospitals face these all the time. And CBG is helping with that as well, which is it's very exciting where this is headed.
Amazing. Yes. And again, if you want to learn about this, just look up what are the benefits of CBG. And you can look up benefits of CBG for, whatever the issues are that you or your loved ones are dealing with. Diabetes has been a huge thing that I've been doing research on recently. And as you mentioned, Dr. Cheng Ran, who's the chief medical director who is responsible for creating and, part of the formulation of these, he's a diabetes reversal expert, right? He's a integrative medicine doctor who's studied traditional medicine, also has a lot of background with Chinese medicine and herbal medicine, and is bringing these together. His clinic is in Houston, and he's actually doing brain scans, EKGs, before and after, showing the immediacy of liposomal delivery method and what it's doing for brain inflammation. And particularly this neuroregeneration is really a big factor when you're looking at things like dementia and Alzheimer's, which, there's so many things that people think are just irreversible. There's no hope. There's no this. And we know there's always factors. I saw an incredible movie recently. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching a movie called Heal. It's on Netflix. Wildly informative on a lot of different levels. They talk a lot about working with herbs and belief. Believing that things can help you is a huge factor. And all those different things that can influence neuroregeneration. And the other fascinating thing I heard was autoimmune disorders. The only thing that means is that we don't know the cause of it. So, imbalance in the system is a huge thing that contributes. Stress is a huge thing. They said 90% of all illness is stress-related. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Relieve your painful joints and muscles. It's easy with Body Therapy. Made with high-quality cannabinoid isolate and wellness botanicals, Body Therapy is a wonderful high-quality industrial-strength non-greasy salve. It helps support relief from deep tissue and muscle tension, minor sprains and injuries, and even helps you recover faster after a workout. You need it, so get it. Body Therapy can be bought at lovinglife.primemybody.com or call or text 310-678-9712.
Women face more challenges today, resulting in more stress, anxiety, and body imbalances. Women need a little more support, and that's where Recept may help. Organically grown and processed with nanosonicated technology, this THC-free hemp product is a great balancing tool. It may aid a woman's hormonal balance from PMS to conception, from pregnancy to menopause. So women, get your calm on. Order Recept today. Just text or call 310-678-9712.
Humans aren't the only ones that can benefit from hemp. Animals can too. Hemp Health for Pets was specially formulated for dogs and cats. Safe and effective, your pets can feel balanced in body and mind with Prime My Pet Hemp and Health Blend. It has organic CBD and yucca, hawthorn, fish oil, and red algae, making Hemp and Health Blend perfect to aid your pets' inflammation, skin conditions, joints, and more. Get yours today. Just text or call 310-678-9712. That's 310-678-9712.
For the best in business class travel, count on Cheapo Air. Cheapo Air has the best price guarantee, 24/7 customer service, and easy booking online or by phone. To experience your hassle-free journey, start by going to HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Cheapo Air.
Created by nature and proven by science, Recept Hemp Extract is something you've probably never experienced before. This organic, non-THC product not only has CBD, but Recept has the latest and highest CBG content. CBG may aid sleep, pain, digestion, mood, so many things. Get your broad-spectrum Recept today. Call or text 310-678-9712 now, or visit lovinglife.primemybody.com.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net. Millions of listeners know the secret. Now you do too. Positive talk 24 hours a day, every day.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I want to give out a huge thanks to Brooke Schwartz for coming on, for sharing with us about her journey with hemp, about how she's really educating her community about this. If you're interested to connect with Brooke, please let people know. How can they find you?
Oh, thanks for asking. Actually, I can be found on Instagram at Nurse Brooke, that's BROOKE 1, so Nurse Brooke 1, and also you can find me on Facebook under Brooke Lynn, 2 different words, LYNN. And it's just been such an honor, Joanne, to be here and to share the message and to share what we're doing. It's been a really exciting time to be part of this and really opening people's minds to how this can help people significantly.
Thank you so much. And please reach out to Brooke if you have questions, if you want to share your gratitude and appreciation to her for what she's doing. Educating people in traditional medicine is not the super easiest thing, but, as we get more people involved, it becomes, really, really impactful. So thanks for being with us here today. And
thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Have a beautiful day. And I just wanted to give a real quick kind of summary of some of the things that we talked about here in terms of what do you want to be considering when you're looking at a hemp product. What's the difference between hemp and marijuana? What are the critical factors to be looking at? A lot of this we've covered on this show and previous shows, but what I found is that it's good to be revisiting these things. So we're talking about hemp here, which means below 0.3% THC. That's what's legal in the United States. We've seen what happened last December is that the federal government deregulated hemp. They took it out of the Schedule I drug category. So Schedule I is a category that has methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, a lot of, very dangerous things. The criteria for that is no medicinal value, dangerous, and addictive. So obviously hemp should have never been in that category to begin with. Now that's been reversed. It's no longer a Schedule I drug. It's been deregulated, and we're seeing a massive explosion in terms of education. The U.S. banking is actually getting involved now in hemp, which is great. Federal monies can be used for research, and we're seeing that quite a lot, both on the pharma side and on the plant side. And then there's a few companies that are doing their own clinical research, which is exciting, and seeing just miraculous results. One of the researchers that I saw at CanMed this year, basically what he said is some people are going to work with cannabis, and their cancer is going to go away. They're going to work with this plant, and they're going to see relief from, they're going to see a rebalancing of their system. It's going to help them, potentially get off insulin if they've got diabetes. It's going to help them with gut health. It may make their autoimmune disorders radically improve. They may have a lot of reduced symptoms with, anxiety or depression, trauma, these sorts of things. And for other people, less so. Some people are going to have a certain result, other people less so. So there could be a particular configuration of cannabinoids and terpenes that people need. And this is what happens with people when they have, maybe a life-threatening illness. They have a child with cancer or autism or ADD or epilepsy, and they go to, like, a cannabis doctor like Bonnie Goldstein, who was one of the presenters there, just an incredible woman who's been pioneering cannabis work in the Los Angeles area. They go to these doctors, and they start experimenting. They start experimenting with this cannabinoid and that terpene and this formulation and this ratio of THC to CBD, and they're trying to help their patients with all different kinds of experimentation. A lot of them are using other herbs along with. We've seen an amazing results with CBD when you mix it with magnesium, valerian, ashwagandha, lemon balm, theanine, GABA, various different things. So there's a lot of different practitioners that are putting herbal things together with this and seeing incredible results for, again, how you can naturally support the body into coming back into homeostasis, providing the nutrients that the body needs to activate its own healing agent. And, this is really the difference between integrative medicine and more traditional Western medicine. The traditional Western model is a lot about diagnose and prescribe, and the conversation in this movie Heal that I mentioned is talking about when your body has symptoms, it's a communication. It's a communication that there's an imbalance, there's nutrients that are needed, there's probably too much stress. They did say that 90% of all illnesses are related to stress. And I started researching cancer specifically, and is there a personality type that is more prone to cancer? This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There's a lot of, in fact, Prime My Body is doing a big donation to breast cancer awareness because so many women with breast cancer are wanting to work with CBD. They're wanting to work with hemp. And even for those that are doing traditional treatments like chemo and radiation, what they're seeing is great results with regards to minimizing the negative effects of these treatments and keeping the mood stabilized, the emotions stabilized, the strengthening autoimmune, minimizing nausea, sickness, fatigue, that type of thing. If you weren't on my call from last month, I interviewed an oncology nurse who specifically is working with women post-breast cancer and helping them to strengthen their immune system to reduce their stress. And she's incorporating Recept, CBD, in her practice, along with teaching about meditation, an overall wellness protocol, right? The importance of exercise, of nutrition, and working with all of these things. So, my desire is to educate, to inform, to encourage people to make sure that you're picking products that are very pure, that are very potent, that you're not vaping your CBD, that you're not smoking necessarily, that you're not putting yourself further at risk, that you're able to work with a product that's got a high absorption, that you're going to have the best possible results with. What I don't want is for people to go to a liquor store, buy a bottle of CBD, try it for a month or a week, say it doesn't work, and cross it off their list. That's my hope, is that doesn't happen, is that you get a recommendation to something that's very potent, that's very pure, that's going to give people the best possible results. I had a coffee date today with a friend who said he had neck pain and a lot of stiffness and could never turn his neck really side to side without pain. I pulled out a little tin of body therapy, which is 1,000 milligrams of CBD in it. He put some on his finger, a really small amount actually. He rubbed it, and for the next 30 minutes during our coffee conversation, he kept turning his neck from side to side and saying, "This is remarkable. I have mobility. It's not hurting. This is interesting. My doubts and fears are ebbing away about what's possible here." So please reach out with your questions, your comments. I'd love to hear from you. Again, my number is 310-678-9712. I really believe that this incredible plant is here to bless us. I think it's here to save us. It's going to help with our toxic environment, both in the soil and in our bodies. And I'd love to answer any questions you have. And if you're interested to learn more about this, please reach out. Blessings, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us.